Welcome to the Wise Take DFS Podcast. I am your host, CK013. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. We have another four-man for the NFL podcast, live podcast that we're doing for free, of course, on YouTube. Joined with one of our OGs of the cash games, Patio Joe. You can find him on Twitter at Patio Joe Ref. I'm gonna introduce you guys one at a time. Patio Joe, what's going on, brother?
Not much. I am sitting right now. I'm not standing or kneeling. Just want to let everybody know that I am actually sitting at my desk, but I'm having a great night.
He's having a great night. Paulie
well,
D.
because Wisco said, "Are we standing or kneeling?" I said, "I'm sitting." So.
I think
everybody else can do.
I would hope all four of us are sitting right now. Well, right now. Also joined by Paulie D, GPP specialist, MLB FanDuel Live finalist in 2017. You can find him on Twitter at Paulie DD. That's how he got the name, Paulie 8Ds. What's going on, Paulie?
Not too much, man. Chilling. Pumped about this week. We did well last week. Trying to carry that into week 4, baby.
Yeah, man.
Maybe this week people listen. Maybe this week people listen.
Maybe.
Wild call.
Maybe.
Did you win last week, though, Paulie? I mean, I didn't see anything. Did you actually win money, though? That's what I want to know. I know you had a good pick.
I did win money, but Terrell Pryor held me back from, really going off.
Yeah, Terrell Pryor.
If Terrell Pryor would have got me, 20, I would have won a couple thousand. But
Crabtree and Benjamin were the two guys that screwed me over.
Well, listen, as we are introducing the last but not least guest, Slim Gady. He was the only one of us that was actually high on Tom Brady last week's show. He was the only one of us, and I think we managed to talk him off by the time
completely. But it made sense.
So
it made sense.
What's up, Gady? How you doing, brother?
I'm sorry, man.
Like that.
No, man. I mean, listen, man. If we did it over again, I still wouldn't have thought. I did not think even after what Kansas City did to the Patriots, I really didn't think that that their defense was that bad. But I mean, obviously,
that's what we learned is that their defense is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And you want offenses against them because they're not gonna be blowing guys out. They're gonna just there's gonna be these slugfests. 50-20, 45-25, we want opposing teams going against New England until they get it right.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And we're actually gonna do things a little bit differently this week. So I picked out about 5 games with help from the nation, giving me some requests of which games to cover. And then we did have some Twitter questions. We told everybody to tweet us some questions, anything they wanted us to address, and we're gonna answer those questions at the end. Just a few, and then obviously at that point, once we get through those, anybody that's in the chat can feel free to ask a question then too. But I'm excited to talk about week 4. I did not do well in week 3 personally. Joe, how did you do?
I mean, compared to the first 2 weeks, I didn't do well. Like I said, Crabtree and Kelvin Benjamin really hurt my cash game lineups. Benjamin getting hurt and then Crabtree just doing nothing just killed my cash game lineups. In my tournaments, it just didn't seem to go anywhere. Like you said, first 2 weeks I picked the defense right and the kicker, and it seemed to work out in my GPPs. This week I didn't pick it right, and I did not wind up cashing in most of my GPPs. So, it's very important to nail the defense.
Paulie, you were saying that I know you had mentioned that you did okay, right? I know that you would have had a big night had Pryor come through, but in general, you did all right, right? Eli and Odell pretty much bailed you out for the most part.
Yeah, no, I mean, I did really well. I doubled my money, I made cash most tournaments.
Right.
I had Eli, Odell, and Ertz. I stacked in every lineup I played, and that worked out well. That counted for 75 points.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of Christian McCaffreys on DK. He did about 23.
It was do or die for you, bro. It was do or die for McCaffrey.
It was.
He came through for you.
He came through. He got that 100-yard bonus. So he worked out. None of the defenses did well, but I whiffed on the D. That's what really hurt. And then Pryor really killed me. I had him in a ton of lineups, and it just wasn't enough points to do any better. But still, I was in the money most of the day. And coming into that Redskins game, I thought he was going to get me into a better spot, but no can do.
Yeah, man. No, definitely. Just sent a message to the wrong person. That's always nice when that happens. Anyway, Gady, how'd you do it week 3, brother?
Honestly, it was pretty rough, man. It was. It's the only week I haven't made money. It just. I just was all in on playing against the Jets, man. So I had Ajayi on everything. We know how that.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that was brutal.
Ajayi killed everything. I had a lot of Landry, so he didn't do much either. Man, I went Stafford, quarterback for most of my cash games, and he was all right. And then he loses that last touchdown.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Damn,
that was
bro.
a bad call. That was a bad call.
Come on.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just all around wasn't good. Like you guys said, the defenses that I had all sucked, man. Negative points. So that was weird. Usually it's pretty easy to lock in on a couple of defenses. So
Everyone was on the Eagles. I tried
Oh,
to
yeah.
tell you.
yep, I was all in. You were right. Negative points. So
Yeah, but you know what though? That was up until like middle of the 3rd quarter. Then all of a
Yeah.
sudden they broke out. So we were right up until they broke through. So let's not.
we were right most of the way
It's
through.
not like it was a terrible call. Let's not.
Dude, they had no sacks. No sacks.
Yeah, I mean
That's
they
pretty bad.
actually the
Eli Manning had
offensive
no
line-
sacks.
The offensive line of the Giants actually showed up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, man. I thought it was pretty much like when me and Joe were actually talking about it a little bit, and we were saying we're like, it's definitely got a shot. We were just like, I just don't think it's gonna happen. And so the whole game, it's like, yeah, it's rough. It looks like Odell's not gonna be the call. It looks like the Eagles chalk's gonna come through, and then sure enough, bang, bang, bang! It all came so quick.
Yeah.
Next thing you
Yeah,
know,
it happened in like 5 minutes.
and next thing you know,
Touchdown.
Paulie D's flexing in the chat, man. Paulie D didn't see him all day, but he's flexing in the chat there at that point. Oh man, football is so much fun, man. And then you have
really
all
is.
week. That's the good thing. It's like in baseball, if you have a great night, okay, it's done tomorrow. But in football,
Yep.
you have all week now to flex. I'm sorry, what
Yep.
you say? If somebody says, Paul, you turn around like that. I'm sorry, Odell, what? He says, Eli, what? So
Yep.
I'm with it, man.
I was, if you remember, I was on Odell
Yeah,
on my late night thing. I was
Josh
talking about
too.
how
you and Josh and Cash, I think like a lot of you guys liked Odell. It was just Eli. That was the guy that was
Yeah, no, we
no
weren't
way.
gonna-
You know what I mean? And
No.
that's a good point.
Now he's priced up like a mother. It's hard to play Eli this week.
Man, that wasn't.
I mean, not Eli, Odell.
Yeah.
9100 on FanDuel.
that's why I was like, get him before he gets priced up.
Yeah.
That's what I said on Saturday night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's
Awesome.
a real interesting week, man. It's going to be tough this week. Like this is another week where the experts have an edge. The guys who put in the research have an edge because there's not a ton of chalk, I don't think, and it's with like Aaron Rodgers on Thursday, with the Saints Dolphins game Saturday morning or Sunday morning, and then DK taking the night game off the slate. There's only a handful of games, and like none of them are too like attractive. It's a tough week, I think.
You got no Ty Montgomery, no Ajayi,
Yeah.
no Kareem Hunt. And
Yeah.
that's just on FanDuel. And then on DK, that means you don't have any like Russell Wilson,
Yep. No Russell Wilson.
for DK. So it's a little bit different. It's a little difficult. It's almost like you almost want to be like, in some ways, like, for instance, at quarterback, almost just take Brady and just move on. Because if that defense is as bad as everybody think it is, they should get in another shootout again in Carolina.
Yeah, I mean the over/under is definitely saying that that's going to happen. I would think Cam's going to be popular this week. I can't do it, man.
I
just
can't do
don't
it either.
believe in
I talked
but,
about it last week. I don't know why this week would be any different.
Well,
know,
hold
like-
on.
Do it against the worst defense in the league, man.
Well, the Saints were just as bad.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. They were the worst defense, and he couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is he even healthy enough to play at this point? I
How
don't.
about we let CK lead us into this game? Because
Oh no, it's cool.
That's the start of
Honestly, I wasn't even gonna say anything because it was
Oh,
the first
I
game
know
on the
you wanted
list.
to cut it.
It was the first game on the list, so I was just gonna see where this went. I was like, the first game on the list here is Carolina and New England. Tom Brady. We talked about Gady. Gady liked Brady.
Yeah.
None of us really liked him. We all ended up popping off, and he ended up doing well. He's expensive again. The only guy really, he's like on FanDuel, he's on a tier on his own up there on the lonely quarterback.
9,500.
Yeah, I think Matt Ryan's the next closest. He's in the low 8s, I think. So
8.
8. There you go. So yeah, man, Joe, we're gonna do a little more organized. That's all. But I was liking where that was going. New England and Houston. Talk to me about the game. We're gonna go Joe, Paulie, Gady, and then I'll recap on the end. Go ahead, Joe.
So yeah, like I mean, just like we were saying, like right now, at least at first look, like I think for DK, it's almost like play Brady in cash. And on FanDuel, he's like one of maybe 2 or 3 options I'm really going to be looking at for cash as my quarterback. He's pretty safe. If we do think it's going to be a shootout, like we said, then he's going to be passing and he's going to keep on passing. The thing that, I mean, we talked about Cam. I can't trust him. Just like last week, I wrote about how there's something not right, and I'm not going to play him in cash. And some people did last week. I was not going to be on that. And it's the same thing this week. We don't even know about Kelvin Benjamin yet. If he's out, that makes it even worse. And, so that means that they're going to probably try and just make sure. They said that Cam's not going to even have designed run plays anymore. So if they don't even have designed run plays for Cam anymore, like what's his value if he's not going to be running the ball? They're going to probably – I could see McCaffrey being really good. Just they're going to let him catch balls and then just tackle him and keep it in front. Not let anybody get beat deep, and I just think that's what Belichick's going to do, and just let Brady beat him.
Okay, that's interesting. Paulie D, you were high on McCaffrey all year. He finally had that breakout game. What are your thoughts on this game? How are you approaching it?
I mean, I think you got to play McCaffrey. He's like the only, especially if the receiver's out, then he's like the only weapon they got. He's getting the targets. I'd like to see him get some more carries, but I think he'll finally get in the end zone here. I expect game script to be way in his favor. The Patriots to be leading, the Panthers to be trying to catch up, and him getting a ton of passes out of the backfield. He might even get like 15 targets this week. And he put up 23 without a touchdown last week. If he gets in the zone, that's a 30-point player. I think he's a must-play this week. I love him, but that's like it for me. Like, I'm not going to play Brady. He's too expensive on FanDuel. I understand the cash game on DraftKings because he's, reasonably priced over there. But I'm just not going to go there. I think Gillislee might get some play in this game. I think they will be leading, and I don't think they're going to I think they're going to win this game kind of handily. I think Carolina's falling apart. We saw the Saints just like obliterate them on the road, and that's not a very good team and not a good defense. We saw him throw 2 picks, get sacked 3 or 4 times. Like, I think the Carolina team is really in trouble, and the only guy I'll be playing is McCaffrey, and I don't think I really have anybody on New England. Maybe a little bit of Gillislee, but that's about it. I think it's just going to be a game with not enough like fantasy value. I'm not going to pay up for Gronk in this game. Like, I see him as a guy that will get better games in closer games. In the blowouts, it's like, why use him? The guy's so injury prone. Like, unless you need him, I would just, I wouldn't use him. So I wouldn't pair him. Like, Cooks is interesting, but I don't know. I just like other games better. I'm probably not going to have too much besides Caffrey.
Gotcha. Gady, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I really like this game, but I don't see a lot of guys I want to play from the game. So, obviously, I mean, it's site differential for me. For DK, I think you're easily able to lock Brady in if you want to do that for cash. And I agree with Paulie 100% on McCaffrey on this one. I mean, New England's terrible against running backs. They're terrible against running backs catching the ball. They're going to be behind. They're going to be throwing to them. I don't know who else they have to throw to if Benjamin's not out there. So, I mean, that's probably one of my number 1 locks for DraftKings is going to be McCaffrey for sure. Yeah, I was excited about Brady this week, and then I look at FanDuel pricing. Come on, man. Yeah, I just don't think I can even play him on FanDuel cash just because of that price. But McCaffrey's in play, but again, it's more of a DraftKings play for me with the PPR. But, I like the game. I could see it getting crazy, but I don't trust Cam at all, and I'm not sure that they're going to be able to score enough to keep up. So that's a little scary for cash games.
Yeah,
man. Yeah,
you guys have like a multiplier like that you're looking for, like on FanDuel, like 3x, 4x, or anything like that? 3x?
3.
So Brady would need to get you 29.5 points. That's a pretty big game to really pay that off. on FanDuel.
Yeah.
He's just way
Yeah.
priced up.
Yeah, on FanDuel. How much is he on DraftKings though? 'Cause-
8K. He's 8K on DraftKings.
okay.
He's still the highest quarterback by a lot. Like it's like Brady, and then you got Matt Ryan at 74, and then Wentz at 66. You know, so he's still expensive relative wise.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah, you know, for me, I have to agree with you guys for the most part. Again, I'm off of Brady. I'm hoping I don't talk anybody off that wants to play him. But to me, like you guys all said, the game script's not there. One thing I was saying, I was talking about Breeze last week. I ended up not playing Breeze, which was a mistake on my part because the other quarterbacks I went with didn't do so great, and Breeze ended up doing okay. And my big reasoning was I felt like Carolina's secondary that was so bad last year. We attacked it all the time last year. I like it wasn't tested yet. So like they played like the Niners and they played I forgot what other team, but I was saying that they weren't tested. The Saints were a bigger test and they failed. They failed miserably, in part because their offense couldn't get going. And I think the reason their offense couldn't get going is because I think their plan was to feed Benjamin the ball constantly. And then when he got hurt, that pretty much threw, everything just kind of got thrown in the air. You know what I mean? Like I think it's going to be different this week with a game plan for him to be out. It's like not an impromptu just throw it together. You know what I'm saying? So what I mean by that is I expect Brady to get ahead quick. Get his points early. So on DraftKings, I do kind of see the merit in a cash play, but on FanDuel, no way, because that'll probably be his ceiling when he gets you in the first half. In the second half, I think it's all Gillislee. I think they're just running the ball down Carolina's throat, wearing him out. And I think there is some, I think I could see Cam just not giving up and just trying his best. I'm seeing reports, I saw a tweet today that they said that the Panthers admitted today that Cam not running, that's by design, that's on purpose, that's not a coincidence. So, but I can see them like without the weapons. If Benjamin doesn't play, it's just him and McCaffrey. That's it. You know what I mean? So it's almost like if anybody gets a touchdown there, it's gonna be Cam and McCaffrey. Those gonna, it's like, you know what I mean? So I am kind of tempted. I do have a little bit of interest because the rushing touchdown upside is always there. Once they get to the goal line, you know what I'm saying? Like he might not run for 60 yards like he used to, but if he gets to the goal line, he will run that ball in if he has to. You know what I mean? So a lot that I want to dig into, but so far I'm with you for the most part. McCaffrey, Gillislee is kind of the game script that we can kind of see. Any thoughts, or should we move on to the next game?
No.
Let's do it. Next game we're going to talk about is this. You know what? We'll talk about this one at the end. We'll talk about Tennessee at Houston first. So that's Mariota and Deshaun Watson coming off a huge game. Impressed me against New England. Is this kid really that good, or is New England's defense really that bad? Joe, what you got for us?
You know, this game, I don't really have much interest in it, especially because Deshaun Watson's priced up a little more than I thought he would. I mean, he's the same price as Cam now, and Winston and Rivers on FanDuel, and Simeon too, that has just as good a matchup. So Watson, to me, if he was a little bit lower price, I'd look at him more, but I don't know. I'm not feeling it. Mariota on the other side looked like he maybe was getting it going last week against Seattle. So it's just, this is a division game, and the Houston defense, if those corners play, I don't really liking, Rashard Matthews or anybody else really in the passing game. And then the running backs, DeMarco you can go with, but I still don't think he's 100% healthy. And I was surprised last week at his production. So
it was all one play.
Yeah, and then the other side, Lamar Miller, you're not going to win anything with him, or Deontay Foreman. That's just right now nobody knows who's going to run the ball. DeAndre Hopkins does have a little bit of interest to me. You know, he's going to get the targets, and the Tennessee defense can be beat. So I think probably Hopkins is the best option in this game for me.
Okay. Paulie D, what you got here, man?
Yeah, I definitely agree with the Hopkins call. Watson, I can understand playing as well. Just like on DraftKings, I don't think he's priced up high enough where he's like out of play. What's the over-under is 43.5. So like, if that thing creeps up by the end of the week and we're looking at more of a higher scoring game, then I could find myself playing like a Watson and Hopkins combo. I mean, Hopkins is going to get the targets, and like Watson could run one in. Like, I think he's legit. his coach at Clemson said like he's the best player he's ever seen. Like anyone who skips him in the draft is making a big mistake, and like he's shown it right away. Like you really don't see rookies going into New England and almost pulling out a win. Like he's shown he's definitely capable and skilled, and he's got the ability to take 50-yard runs to the house. So I think he's in play on DraftKings, and it's something I'm thinking about. I'm not sure. It's really going to depend how that line moves. If it moves down, then I'll probably stay away, thinking it's a lower scoring game. But if it starts to creep up, like I don't know, the Tennessee always seems to get in these like slugfest back and forth like they did last week, and I could see it becoming a game where there's a lot of fantasy points. So it's one I'm going to keep my eye on. I think Lamar Miller's interesting in this game too. I think Tennessee can be run on, and I think Houston doesn't have a ton of other options right now, so they may lean on him a bit more, and he's pretty cheap. Then on the tennis, go ahead.
Real quick, there's one thing I wanted to note. I'm just seeing this in the chat. I did hear something about this, but I think Will Fuller might be back.
Yeah, he's practicing. He may be back. If he is, that's awesome. I probably wouldn't play him his first week, but he's a very talented receiver, and I don't know like if him being there would really take much away from Hopkins, but it could lower it just a little bit. But I do think he's going to play this week because he practiced last week. He came off the DL a little earlier than people expected, and it'll be interesting to see if he's going to play. And then on the Titans side, I think I'd really only be interested in like a slot or like a receiver, maybe Rashard Matthews, but I just think there's probably better players out there, So I don't know. This game's weird to me right now. If I do play it, then I will put a Titan receiver in there as well. But I feel like there's better spots out there.
Gotcha. Katie, what are your thoughts here on this game?
Yeah, it's kind of a weird game for me because I kind of like it, but I think I'm leaning towards just tournament plays here mostly. The Tennessee side, I'm not really on Mariota on the road here. I do like Rashard Matthews pretty much every week, honestly. He's always cheap price and he's going to catch some balls. The running back situation, I just can't seem to go there because you don't ever know when Henry's going to get 45% of the snaps, and it's just impossible to predict. I do like Watson a lot as a player, but I mean, this guy, he's making his third start, I guess. So there's going to be a lot of ups and downs, man. He was impressive as hell last week. He's a great tournament play, I think, in this one, but I don't know that it's a guy you want to count on. But I do like Hopkins, just like you guys do. I mean, he's just going to keep feeding him the ball. That's the thing I like about it the most. Yep. Watson's just going to keep throwing it to him, man, because he's smart. He knows what to do. Get it to your best player. It's not that hard. Mm-hmm. I'm not really on Lamar Miller. I just need to see it before I'm going to believe it. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I've got. Yeah, probably Hopkins. If I'm going to play one guy, it's either going to be Hopkins on the Houston side or Matthews on the Tennessee side.
Yeah, I think that Will Fuller being back is only going to help Hopkins because I think at least you have to respect Fuller. I don't expect that Fuller's in like real serious game shape to where he's going to be like really relied upon all that much. So I'm with you, Paulie. Like I don't see. I don't think I want to play him in his first week back, but at least it's going to draw attention because he's good enough that you have to respect. You have to respect him on defense. You can't just triple team freaking Hopkins. You know what I mean? And also, Paulie, I'm with you. I kind of like Lamar Miller. The workload's been okay. In week 1, 17 touches, 18 touches week 2. Now 14 against New England. But obviously they were in a shootout. They weren't trying to run the ball. Like they were trying to. They were throwing the ball with success. So, and not to mention a lot of the running came from the quarterback. I think I'm with you. Lamar Miller's a guy that nobody really talks about. I tell you what, man. Tennessee, they duped everybody with the injury to the quote unquote injury to Murray. They talked his injury up so much, and that dude got such a big workload. Ended up having a big game. They milked it they milked it like crazy, man. It was.
What's Miller's price on FanDuel? He's $4,500 on DraftKings. Like that's
he's
really really good.
He's $6K, which on FanDuel isn't bad, right? It's not bad. Yep. When most of the running backs you want are in the 8s, $6K is not bad. It's a touchdown-dependent site, and Miller's like...
That's what he does.
That's what he does. They're going to use him to punch it into the goal line when they get down there. So I'm with you, man. I could see it a little bit. Now, I know that Wu Chef wanted us to talk about this game because he was asking what we thought of a game stack here.
So yeah, I mean, it's going to be low owned, that's for sure. I don't know if it's going to go off, though. That's the thing.
If I'm doing the game stack, I think I'm going more Mariota. What do you think? If I'm doing the game stack, I think I'm going Mariota because I think perception is just too high on Deshaun right now. He had one good game, which was against the Patriots. I think he's going to be great. I watched college football. I loved him in Clemson. I loved it. You know what I mean? But like at the same time, it's like perception, like buy low, sell high. The perception on him is at an all-time high. You know? Mm-hmm. So like go ahead. No, I was just wanted to get
good take.
I mean, he's $1,300 cheaper on DraftKings. Mariota is more expensive than Watson. I just see I could see Tennessee getting some scores on the ground. I can see some from Houston as well. That's why I probably wouldn't game stack this game because you don't really want to stack running backs with receivers. The only way it really works out in a game stack in my mind is playing Titan running backs and then the quarterback receiver combos from Houston and anticipating the Titans leading and Houston trying to come back. But that's really tough in my opinion. I think there's better spots, so I probably would not game stack this game.
JD, what are your thoughts on a game stack?
Yeah, I can see it. I mean, like I said, it's going to be low owned, and it could possibly go off. I think we can all agree with that, but it's just hard when you look at the players individually and just be like, really, this is what I'm going to go with? If I'm stacking this game, these are all the guys I got to play. I just don't feel like those are the guys I really want to play.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Another thing I want to mention, ownership does not matter that much in NFL, especially in the large field tournaments. I know we're coming off baseball and it's everything, but in football, you got to get your mind off of worrying about ownership outside of fading the chalk running backs where that can be a leverage play against or for. But whether this game's gonna be popular or not, if you believe in the game and game stack it, don't worry about the ownership on it. Mariota's never gonna be more than 15-20%. None of these guys are. So the ownership it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, especially because I'm going to let you talk, Katie, but no. Actually, you already did talk. But just to elaborate on that, my bad. A lot of times, the margin in football is very slim. So, say your chalk guy got outperformed by the contrarian play, it could be by 5 points. You know what I'm saying? So I agree. Don't let that thing get into your head. It's not baseball where there is variance here. There's a ton of it. But it's so unpredictable. Just play the guys you like. You'll feel so much better afterwards, even when you lose, knowing that you play the guys that you liked instead of worrying or pivoting onto people just because of ownership.
Dude, my friend this week, he had an awesome lineup, and he was AJ Green and Cook the tight end, or the Pryor on the Redskins and the Packers tight end, and he kept going back and forth, and he was AJ Green's going to be too high owned, and he came off that. And if he would have left that, he would have won $100,000 and ended up min cashing.
Oh my
and it's
God.
AJ Green was 45% owned, but it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah.
You need the guys that are going to get the points, and you can differentiate just with one player essentially to make yourself different. Ownership is really not that important. It's really about getting the guys that score the points in football.
Yeah, that's I agree. All right, so let's get to this next game here. We got Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Le'Veon Bell going against Baltimore. The Ravens are coming home from London where they got completely smashed by the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Blake Bortles, Paulie D was just 1 week early on his Blake Bortles call because that dude went ham, bro. Patio Joe, what do you think about this game?
I think that you should just cross it off and go somewhere else, to be honest with you. I am not into this game at all. I don't like playing this game. If you want to play Le'Veon Bell or Antonio Brown in a PPR, I am totally for that. But me as being the cash game guy, there's so many other options out there this week. I am not going to go there and deal with it. Ben on the road is terrible, which makes almost everybody else terrible, little bit lower. And I saw it last week against the Bears. They didn't play it. Now they're going to go to Baltimore, their biggest rival. Their rival is pissed off. They just got embarrassed. They have no bye week. They have to come back and play again. I just don't like this game. I don't have a good read on it. and I will have very little shares in it.
Okay. Paulie D, what are your thoughts here?
I do agree with Joe that it's tough for DFS. I think Le'Veon Bell is definitely in play. Not sure what his pricing is on FanDuel, but you know, I even in like a low scoring game, like
It's 8,600.
8,600. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a lot, but like this is a like a rivalry game. It's going to be hard hitting. Both teams really need a win. Like, I see Le'Veon Bell being, you know, getting the usage and probably getting the scores. Baltimore has one very good cornerback that, you know, might negate some of Antonio Brown's upside. And you know, we saw like Jacksonville got most of their work with the tight end, and I don't think anyone's going to run to play Jesse James, but I think it kind of takes the Pittsburgh passing game out of play outside of maybe like a flyer shot on a guy like Martavis Bryant. So I think Lev Bell is definitely in play because he's going to get the usage, and if you know, in my opinion, if they score 3 touchdowns, he'll probably be on 2 of them. So I think Lev's still in play here. And then on the Baltimore side, I can't imagine anyone that would be in play. Like, I guess you can take a flyer on Macklin if you think, you know, Pittsburgh's going to be leading and they're going to have to come back. Like, I'm assuming Joe Flacco is going to start at quarterback again. I think they just took him out because it got out of hand. And, you know, I think Pittsburgh's run D is pretty solid, so I think Macklin would be the only Baltimore guy that you could stick in some of your lineups.
Okay. Gady, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I don't like it at all. I mean, it's going to be a good game to watch if you just like to watch football and watch games that matter. Because like you said, I mean, it's going to be hard-hitting game. So it's a fun game to watch, but Pittsburgh at 22, 23 points, something like that. I mean, they've had two or three games they haven't hit 20 yet. And, you know, Ben can't play on the road. The only play I see here is Bell, and it's just based on volume and touches. And you know he's going to be on the field for every snap. So I don't know if I want to go there in my cash games. I don't think a lot of people will go there. But he's got a lot of potential, a lot of upside there.
Potential.
That's right, baby. And Baltimore just sucks, man. I mean, I don't think they're as bad as they played last week. I think their defense comes back around. I think something weird happened. I think like
travel,
I said,
you know, like weird stuff happens when you go to London. I think you have to almost like write that off and expect them to be more what they were weeks 1 and 2.
I agree with you. I think that we'll be back to that, but their offense still sucks no matter what. And I think that probably they were just going with their protest is just not showing up to that game at all. So, yeah, we'll just cross that one off. Le'Veon Bell, only play that I really see in this game.
Yeah, I like Bell. I like Brown. I think those guys were the obvious plays, certainly in play. I'm not going to deny that. In all formats, feel free. The volume is there, right? If you're confident in that position. One thing though that I'm taking away from last week, regardless of the Ravens, I think I tend to agree with you guys that I'm not going to judge the Ravens defense off that game because for the first couple weeks they actually looked pretty good. So I'm not going to I'm going to throw that out the window. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But what about the Steelers? They just got beat by the Bears. I mean,
they won.
Oh, okay. Well, they ended up.
No, wait a minute. They lost the Bears.
They lost.
Oh, yeah,
You're
right. They
lost.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I'm sorry.
Here's what I'm saying, Paulie, is that I don't think that the Steelers are going to score more than 2 touchdowns.
No,
they might win.
I agree. Like the over-unders rate ticked down 2.5 points. It's down to 42.5. So I think it's a low-scoring, like not very DFS-friendly kind of game.
Yeah, that's why I just don't think that at least. Like I said, obviously Bell is good for GB. I guess, you know what, the one guy then that maybe slides under the radar would be Martavis Bryant. Maybe he's the one guy that
I called the drop.
Flyer.
I called the drop last week, and sure enough, he dropped a bomb.
I know, man.
That dude's got butterfingers. He's so fast, man. So damn fast. This cannot catch a ball. All right, anybody got anything else, or we move on?
No, move on.
All right, next game here we're going to talk about is Oakland at Denver. So Carr busted, which means Cooper and Crabtree busted. Denver's back home. Oakland's defense hasn't looked so great, but it hasn't been terrible. I don't think it's that good. Denver's defenses look pretty good. They're pretty damn good against the run so far. Patio Joe, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I think that you need to be looking at Trevor Siemian on Sunday as a decent option. He's shown the first 2 weeks when he's played at home, he's lit up the Chargers secondary, and then he lit up the Cowboys secondary, and now the Raiders secondary is probably the worst of the three. The Raiders are definitely, they took it on the chin last week. They got their ass kicked, and definitely that makes my heart feel warm when that happens. But we now move to Denver, and it is a division game. Nobody is going to be playing Derek Carr at all. Nobody. And I don't know if this is the crazy DeFrancisco call of the week. It could be, but I know that Trevor Siemian, I think you could play him naked if you wanted to. As the receivers, Demarius and Sanders are both at decent prices, and they both have 2 touchdown upsides against a bad secondary. I can't take them in cash, but in GPPs, I don't mind it. And then now we have a little bit of a muddle situation now in the backfield of C.J. Anderson and Jamal Charles. So if you think that the game strip's going to go where they're going to be up, then I think maybe you like C.J. Anderson. If you think it's going to be a shootout, maybe you look at Jamal Charles a little more.
Interesting. My take on this game is, for the most part, stay away. I think if you're going to play Siemian, you have to pair him up to maximize that value. And you're going to pick between Demaryius Thomas or Emmanuel Sanders. I think I'd lean towards Demaryius Thomas, but I could see either one of them doing well. But in my opinion, I would not go to Siemian. I don't think there's enough upside. Like, I don't see him throwing for 300 and 3 touchdowns. I could see him doing well, but I don't think there's enough upside, like, compared to other players on this slate. The only play I'm interested in this game is Marshawn Lynch. I think the Raiders, really would like to win this game. Last year, Latavius Murray went off against the Broncos in this same game for 3 touchdowns and $120 rushing. And I think that's really the only way you can attack Denver. So I think this could be a spot where you get Marshawn Lynch very low owned and with some decent upside. That's the only way I see the Raiders really contending is if he has a big game. So I'll probably sprinkle him in a few teams and but otherwise, I really don't have much interest, and I think you could play Denver's defense.
Oh, okay. Gady, what do you think here, bro?
Yeah, I'm really high on Siemian for cash games. I mean, he's been great at home. The Raiders are really bad, man. I don't know if people understand how bad this defense is, and they probably shouldn't be. I think that's a bit of a surprise, but I think they're 28th ranked pass defense. So
stop Mac. All you got to do is stop Mac.
Yeah, that's it. Name another guy on the defense.
I don't know.
Got nothing. Stop Mac. You're right. So, yeah, I'm all in on Siemian here, I think.
Interesting call.
The thing is just with the receivers, it's just tough for me because one of them's probably going to have a big day and the other guy's probably not. So,
see, I agree with you. I think you could play him naked. And Paulie says to pair him. I think that the first week, Benny Fowler caught 2 touchdown passes.
Right.
You know what I mean? That could happen again tomorrow on Sunday.
If I knew which guy to play, then I'd say pair him. But I just don't know if I want DT or if I want Sanders. So that's a tough call for me. On the other side, go ahead.
No. I want to hear the other side first. Go ahead.
On the other side, I just like I told you guys last week, I don't play anybody against Denver cash games. So yeah. I don't see anybody to play here for sure. Like I said, nobody's going to be on Carr. Lynch didn't ever get the ball last week, which was interesting to me. Even when they had 1st and goal at the 4-yard line and he's not even in the game. What the hell was that about? I don't know, man. Oakland's a little shaky right now, so
I love it.
I do like the Denver defense pick too. So yeah, I don't see anything here with Oakland that I like. I'm completely off of them.
I see a high total. I see a close spread. I see a game that not a lot of people are going to think is going to blow up offensively. I like this game. I like this game a lot. I like Carr and I like Siemian. I think Siemian makes me nervous a little bit because I do think they're going to be able to run the ball here. And so, like, I worry how much. One thing I'll say, in cash games, I don't mind playing Semien naked because it is hard to tell which one of those guys to take, and you don't want to take both in a cash game.
Mm-hmm.
But in GPPs, there's no way I'm playing him naked because one of these guys is going to have a big game. And even if it's Fowler, you should have played Fowler. I don't think that's going to be a trend. Fowler's targets are terribly low. I think that was just a situation where it was just red zone. The only time he gets targeted is in the red zone. So, yeah, he kind of vulture you. It's true. But the amount of targets that he throws to his first two guys, 30 targets for Sanders, 26 for Thomas, it's just too much. And GPPs, if I'm trying to maximize my upside, I need at least one of those guys to take with me. I think this is a great time to play Carr. Now listen, the trends say not to do it. I'm talking tournaments only. I would not play Carr or any Raider in a cash game. But in tournaments, we know this guy can sling it. We know he can throw. You know what I'm saying? Like, Denver's defense did okay. They played Tyrod Taylor. You know, and listen, the first 2 weeks they played well. I'm not trying to take anything away. They're a very good defense. I'm not trying to knock them down. I'm just saying I think Carr is pretty good. He didn't look very good on the East Coast in primetime. Perception is down on him, right? Crabtree, Cooper. You have a chance to get 3 of the chalkiest players every week. You have a chance to get them at almost no ownership. And it's a 47 total. No, okay, maybe not Cooper. He's got the drops. He's got a case of the drops. But to me, for tournaments, man, I see a lot of value in this game. At 47 total, a close spread. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's worth a shot to me. I'm not saying that I would fully game stack the whole thing, but I think a correlation stack, maybe a receiver or a running back from each team or something. You know what I'm saying? Like some correlation. And I do think Semien and Carr both in play.
I would bet that this total gets bet down to like 45, 44 and a half.
I'm very surprised that it's still at 47. You know, I am. I'm surprised it's there.
I just don't think either one of these quarterback receiver combos have enough upside to win you a tournament. Like, they may do decent, but I don't see any chance Semien throws for over 300 and, you know, Carr either. Like, even if they're trailing, they got to come back. Like, I don't see it. Denver's defense is too good. You know, like, they don't go into the prevent. They pretty much lock you up in man coverage. You know, like, I could see him throwing a touchdown pass or two, Carr, but I don't see it being that massive upside game you need to win in tournaments. I wouldn't play either side.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Carr hasn't even sniffed 300 yet. So why's he gonna? How's he gonna do it now?
Love that.
I hear it, man. I hear it.
Highest paid quarterback in the NFL hasn't won one playoff game, hasn't sniffed 300 in the first 3 games. Can we go to the next game?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, we can. It's actually the last game here. We got, is it, wait a minute, I think I wrote it down wrong. Indianapolis at Seattle, right? Seattle's home?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the Sunday night game.
Prime time game.
It's not on the DK slate. It's only on the FanDuel main.
People were pissed. A lot of people were pissed.
Yep.
All right. I don't know
okay, so for me, Russell Wilson has got to be somebody that you're looking at for a cash game at home against this Indianapolis defense. His 7,900, his upside is there. His floor is pretty nice, especially if Doug Baldwin plays. But that's a big if right now. He has a growing issue. He's not practicing Wednesday or Thursday. He practices a little bit on Friday. It makes it look good that he's going to be playing on Sunday. That is a big, big if. Now, if he doesn't play, that also puts guys like Paul Richardson in play, Tyler Lockett in play, because they need to step up now in that defense, in that passing game for the Seahawks. On the other side, I don't see anybody on the side of the Colts that I'd like. You're gonna want to. I think in cash games this week, you got to try and build your lineup with the Seahawks defense if you can. And
so expensive on FanDuel.
It is. They're 5,400, but I think on cash, like, I haven't tried to make a cash lineup using them yet, but I think they're good value. Looking at the other defenses on the slate, there's not many that are safe, you know. And so if you can find it, you know, and then you find a $4,500 kicker and pay down at tight end and, you know, maybe find a value running back, I think you can make it work because I don't think that you need to pay up totally high up at receiver this week in cash at least. I don't think you have to. So, you know, it's something to think about and try and get the Seattle defense if you can.
Okay, Paulie D.
If Baldwin's out, I think I'd go to Jimmy Graham in this game. I think the tight end spot is kind of thin this week, and if Baldwin's out, I think he'll become the primary focus on that offense. With a 13-point spread and a 41 over/under, I think we're looking at a lower scoring kind of Seattle 24-0 defense dominated win. So I am not on Russell Wilson. I don't really like this game either. If I had to, I could throw a dart at Ty, assuming they're going to be playing from behind and he'll get a bunch of targets. But really, my main interest in this game is Seattle's D and maybe Chris Carson, assuming that they're going to be leading and he might get a ton of carries. Pro Zeiss is out as well, so he may become more of a primary focus in the offense. But if you are going down Russell Wilson's lane, I would pair him with Graham, but I won't be doing that.
Okay, Gady, what do you got here?
Yeah, a lot of it for me depends on Baldwin. I mean, if Baldwin's going to play and we feel like he's going to be healthy, then I'd be all in on Wilson, Baldwin. I do like the Jimmy Graham call. I mean, Indy gets torched, man, by tight end. So, and if Baldwin's out, that's where they're going to go. Carson is a good call. He's a little risky. Like FanDuel, you can go. I mean, he's priced down there with Carlos Hyde. Like, I'm not going to play Carson if I can play Hyde. So,
no, we'll find you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I just don't see any way that Indy's going to actually score in this game. I mean, even though Seattle's defense has been pretty bad, let's be honest, but at home they're pissed off. How's Indy going to score, man? Yeah, if you can get Seattle's D in there, get them in, but it's going to be tough on FanDuel. It's expensive.
Yep.
Guys, I have something that I just read here that we might want to pump the brakes on Doug Baldwin a little bit. Vontae Davis should be making his season debut this week. And if he shadows Baldwin, I think that might slow him down a little bit. Vontae Davis is one of the more underrated corners in the league.
Sure.
So just pay attention to that. I think if he's out, then I really like Baldwin. But if he's not, I think maybe then you could maybe play Wilson naked, or maybe even just makes Wilson more of a GBP play then.
Sure.
Yeah, it's definitely good to know. Yeah, I'm off of Wilson just because, again, he's another guy that I don't want to buy high on. He didn't look good the first couple of weeks, so I don't want to buy too much into it because he had one good game. Not to mention, even without Baldwin, I still kind of expect this game I would expect this game to get out of hand. And either way, I'm expecting the same thing. I expect Seattle's defense, for the most part, to be playing well enough to get Seattle ahead. So I do think it's a great cash game call. How has Seattle been against the run this year? I feel like they haven't been
really, really bad.
DeMarco Murray just sliced them up lately. Is that right? Yeah. The game script doesn't say that like this would work, but Frank Gore's been getting a lot of volume. You know what I mean? Like he's been bad. He's been real bad, but he's been getting the volume. And Seattle's run defense hasn't went well. I would imagine they're going to run a lot. You know how it is to play in Seattle with the noise. Paulie looks like he's going to puke right now.
No.
I think he just did.
I think he might have in his mouth a little bit.
Yeah. No Frank Gore. Please don't play Frank Gore.
All right.
The Seattle traded for Richardson from the Jets. He's like one of the best D tackles in the league. His defense is going to improve as the year goes on. Like, yeah, they got run on a little bit, but I don't expect that to continue. And Frank Gore, like, is he even getting like the bulk of the carries? Like,
he didn't really get it last week against the Browns, but he didn't get it the week before, but he got it against the Browns. He got 25 touches against there. He still didn't do well, and Frank Gore's not a guy that I'm gonna play. I just was wondering what the thoughts are. He's not a guy I'm gonna play.
Only on FanDuel for Frank Gore, number one. You definitely do not play him on DK, and I think that's really, really stretching. I think you can definitely find better players than him.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the teams that have ripped him up on the ground, I mean, Carlos Hyde, well, the 49ers couldn't do anything else. What do you expect them to do? And then, Tennessee's a really good running team, so Are the Colts a good rushing team? I mean, come
The
on.
Colts are not a good anything team right now, bro.
Right. So
Remember, they beat the Browns last week, everybody.
They beat the-
Let's not get all crazy on the Colts. All right?
And you know, like outside
It's
of DeMarco's 75-yard run, like they really didn't run all over them. You take that one play out, and they only ran for about 80 yards. So I don't know if that's a good call.
This is a dramatic like up pace. Like playing the Browns defense and then playing Seattle's defense is like a whole. It's like
it's a whole different world.
Yeah, dude. That you're talking like Bartolo Colon to Clayton Kershaw. It's like so I definitely agree. What's that?
Sorry, go ahead.
No. I was just saying. Go ahead.
The real question is why the hell is this game on Sunday night?
I guess when they planned it,
yet.
I guess when they planned it, they were thinking Luck was going to play. And
so it was just bad luck.
Yeah,
Just like the Giants on all the primetime games.
Yeah, so it just lets you know,
Ooh,
just a
shots
saying
fired,
in the
Paulie.
chat, and I confirmed it. Our icon and a male idol of probably of all of us, Hugh Hefner, has passed away at 91.
Yeah,
Just reported.
oh wow, no kidding.
sad moment.
That is
Sad
terrible.
moment.
Should
I
we
mean,
just
he
eat
was.
Drop the mic and just walk out, or what?
I mean,
Oh.
boobs for Wisco. Boobs.
No, is that the last game? And no more games?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it, brother. That's it. We got a couple questions that I got to ask that were tweeted to
I have
us.
a couple questions, and we got to get out of here.
That's it. Let me pull up these questions.
I got questions.
You got questions?
Yeah.
what are your questions, Paulie?
Oh no, Paulie, what did you do?
No,
What did you do? Is she mad at you?
no, I'm good. I'm just
not
like
mad at you?
this slate is rough, man. I'm like
It is.
from this podcast, I didn't get like anything that I wanted to play, and I'm like, damn, like
Yeah.
where am I gonna go? But
out on
I guess-
everybody that we talked about.
yeah, it's like it's
Well, we'll
rough.
find out. That's why on Saturday you come on the Wise stream, and I'll be here to answer all your questions, buddy. That's
Nice.
Oh, there you go.
We did get Hopkins. We were all good with. That's
Yeah.
basically the only play I've gotten so
Well, yeah,
far.
but I mean, all the games that we talked about were kind of abstract games. They weren't even really the ones that I really want to go to. So, you know.
Yep, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we talked about the Patriots.
just gotta
'cause
give them a
Brady
little
had a big
taste.
game. We talked about Deshaun
Yeah.
Watson because he had a big game. We talked about Russell
Just
Wilson
a
because
tip.
he had a big game.
Just the tip.
We talked
Just
about
a
Le'Veon
little.
Bell.
For a
We
second.
went over like key highlight players. Like we touched on like the key, like some of the most popular guys out there. You know, and we're gonna
Ouch!
touch on
Ouch! You're on my hair.
a couple.
I
Of
think we
ones.
should talk about one more game because the DK guys got robbed.
Okay, what game? You pick it.
I'll pick it. All right. Let's talk about the Rams Dallas game. I think that one's really interesting.
Okay.
Rams, Dallas.
Do you want to start it off, or you want Joe to start it off?
I want Joe to start it off.
All right, Joe.
I love Zeke. Coming home, I think he is, at first glance, he is the safest running back on the board this week to score a touchdown against a team that got ran over by Carlos Hyde. They got ran over the week before by Rob Kelly, Samjay Perrine, and Chris Thompson. Elliott is more involved in the pass game this year. And week one, the Rams got ran on a little bit by Frank Gore and Marlon Mack. So, like, dude, I mean, I just think Elliott, lock him into your cash games, move on. That's really, really where to go. And I probably wouldn't do this, but I think Dak has got a really, really, really safe floor on Sunday, and I think that he can pass too, because as we could see, this Rams defense isn't maybe what it was, what we think it is, or was in past years. And in the flip side, maybe their offense is a little bit better. So none of the Rams offense interests me. I am totally off of the Todd Gurley train. That was good for 3 weeks. Now he's playing Dallas, and I think that they're going to contain him. They contain the Arizona running backs. The other week, I know that Gurley is better, but if you look, he had the easiest schedule the first 3 weeks. It is all going to come down crashing for him in the next coming weeks. I am totally off the Todd Gurley train, off Goff. I'm off Watkins. I think that, actually, you know what? If I'm on anything of the Rams on Sunday, I might be a little bit on Watkins or Cooper Kupp as one-offs, but that's it. To you, Paulie.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know yet how I totally feel about this game, but I think it's one that is definitely going to get a lot of attraction. I think Zeke's probably going to be the highest owned running back, and I'm totally fine with him. But I'm actually more interested in Dak and Dez, pairing them up in this game. I think, we saw the 49ers pass. We saw, what's his name, the 49ers receiver from the Redskins. Garcon, look like an all-star in that game. So I think this is a game for Dak and Dez to connect. And I think the Rams' offense is mightily improved, so I think they're going to keep pace. I think this game will be very, very high scoring. Maybe not Todd Gurley, although I think that Dallas can be run on. We saw Denver run all over them 2 weeks ago. But definitely Watkins, who is in concussion protocol. So if he's out, then it makes Woods or Kupp like a must-play, in my opinion, because I think this game will be higher scoring. I don't have much respect for the Dallas secondary, so I like the Rams passing game here. And I like both passing games. I think this will be one of the higher scoring games out there this week.
Okay. Katie, what do you think?
Yeah, I like this game a lot. Got a ton of interest in it. On the Dallas side, I think I'm with Joe 100%. I'm locking in Zeke and not really thinking much about it. The Rams are terrible against the run. They give up a lot of receptions to running backs, too. And like you said, Zeke's in the passing game. I'm locking him in. He's getting a touchdown, maybe more than one.
Plus the narrative of him being an ass 2 weeks ago. And now they're back at home.
That's right. It's interesting because when I first started looking through and just doing some research, I personally like Dak a lot in this one.
Yeah.
And I look at it and I'm seeing the Rams pass defense ranked pretty high. I just don't see it, man. If you watch that Thursday night game, and Brian Horier's sorry ass tore him up. So I think you have to like Dak. I don't believe the stats on this. And he's FanDuel, he's right there with Simeon and Alex Smith and Wentz and these guys. So I might like him actually better than Simeon. That might be a tough call, but yeah, Zeke for sure. The Rams side, I still like Gurley. I think. Yeah. Definitely. Dallas is getting killed, man. Just getting killed. They're one of the worst teams in the league against pass receiving running backs, and Gurley does everything.
Yep.
You watch them play. They're doing everything they possibly can to feed him the ball. If they get inside the 10, he's going to carry it 3 times in a row, or he's going to carry it twice, and they're going to throw it to him on 3rd down.
Yeah,
so
I agree, man. Like the Arizona team, they're like in shambles. Like you can't like compare that running attack.
Yeah, who's the running back?
Yeah,
they got 3 guys who all suck,
Yep.
And Gurley, I don't know that he's that great of a running back. He's not Zeke, but he's talented, and they're going to give him the ball. He's going to touch it 25 or 30 times. Mm-hmm. So I'm in on that too.
Man, I love the call. I like Zeke a lot today. I liked him a lot coming into this week. And Dak was somebody I hadn't considered. I considered him a little bit after his big performance, but I wasn't going too heavy. But I did like what you guys have to say. And then, now that I think about it, as bad as Carson Palmer is, Fitzgerald had a pretty damn good game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I know Sammy Watkins is questionable with a concussion. So if he doesn't play, Cooper Kupp and Gurley are your only options.
Robert Woods, right? Maybe
Robert Woods, maybe for the deep stuff. If we think Goff will take a chance deep, which he could. I don't see why you wouldn't on the defense that we've seen from the Cowboys. I don't see why you wouldn't. I like the call, man. Initially I was thinking Gurley and Dallas, but Paulie, when you mentioned Dak and Gady, you made some great points about Dak as well. That was something that happened to me on Monday when I was doing the Monday slate. I overlooked Dak. I looked at all the 3 quarterbacks. I didn't consider Dak because I liked Elliott.
Dak could run one in. I don't see any way he doesn't hook up with Dez at least for one touchdown.
This is the first matchup where they can finally do it to Dez. This is the first one. It's just they could really actually get it to him. This is the first one. I like that, man. The way for me, I could see if either you could do a full game, so you could play a full game stack from this game if you like. But if you want to cut it in half, you can approach it by angles too. You could play the dual running backs. You can play that correlation, Gurley and Zeke, or you can play Des Bryant and Dak with like Watkins if he plays, or Cooper, or Zeke too. Yeah, you can play
all three of them. Like we've seen it happen with the Chiefs, where Hunt, the tight end, and Alex Smith all went off. You know, like you can definitely play all three. You definitely should have a Ram in that if you're doing that as well. You know, because if all three of those guys go off, it's a really high scoring game, and you'll want a piece of the other side. But you know, there's not a ton of games that I see really going off, and I know there's a few others that we're not going to get to. But this is definitely one that I think will, like, for sure be an offensive, you know, scoring kind of game.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree, man. I 100% agree.
I want to mention, quick.
I
didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Are you guys worried at all about the Rams' offensive line against the Dallas front after what they just did to the Cardinals? I mean, where are we with the Rams' offensive line? I'm not really sure about it.
You know, I think it's decent. Like, I have respect for San Fran's D-line, and they did well in that game. I think their offense is very quick, like striking, like three-step drops, you know. So I don't know if Gurley will get it in the run game, but I think he'll definitely get it in the pass game, and I think the receivers are in play. But it's a good point. Like, I don't know if Gurley will run for 100, but I think, especially on DraftKings with the receptions, he'll make value there.
There you go.
But yeah, I think that I'm not too concerned. I think there's ways around it, because like they're not going to be able to blitz too heavy, because then they're subject to the screen with Gurley, which is kind of their game plan anyway. So it's like, you know, I think that they're going to have to respect Gurley's screen, the receiving capabilities enough to where I think they're going to have to be selective of who they blitz. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But yeah, man, this was a great game. I was trying to save that one for the premium stash, but Paulie, Paulie's a man of the nation, bro. Paulie's a man of the nation. You know, like he does it for me, and I'm with it, bro. I'm with it, man.
We had to give him one game with plays we liked.
Well, you know what it is? I wasn't looking at the games that we liked. I was just looking at games that maybe people would be into because of recency bias. So I picked like Tom Brady's game, you know, Watson, and you know, Carr busted everybody. So that was it. But that was a great call. That's definitely one of the games that I have my eyes on. And on Saturday, we'll dive into the rest of the games that I think we all like. We're going to cover all of them. So
we will.
If you're not signed up at wisetake.com, check it out, man. You get cash game articles, you get GPP articles, Gady writes the narrative articles. We got game overviews to start you off with your week. And, of course, we do the Y stream, Saturdays, 2 p.m. Eastern, for premium members only on wisetake.com. We dive in and we cover all the games, and we really go in, and we also talk to you about the guys we actually like and that we're interested in. So come hang out, man. It's fun. You can just buy it for a week if you want to test it out, man. It's just $9.99. Use promo code Twitter. Use promo code Facebook, and you'll save yourself 10%. How about that? So
don't forget Friday for you baseball premium members.
Yes.
Season finale.
So Friday is the last MLB Y stream of the regular season. So Patio Joe's going to be on. Paulie D is going to be on. We're going to have Cash and DFS on, I believe, because it's a Friday. He does Fridays. And we're gonna throw Joe the keys. He's gonna host the last MLB regular season live stream. He's got some news he wanted to share with us, with the nation only. You got to be a member. So it's $249 for a day pass at this point if you're not already a member of Wise Take. So on Friday, make sure you're there. You got no excuse. Just buy the day pass, watch the show. There's a couple things that Joe's gonna give us. It's an announcement and a very special story that we can't share on public YouTube. So
a legendary story.
Legendary story.
Legendary.
Epic. Oh, you know what, guys? We have to answer these questions. I am so sorry. Right. I almost forgot about them. So this one, DFS Wolfpack's in the chat, but we're going to talk about it anyway real quick. He tweeted at us. We asked, who do you want us to talk about? He tweeted at us, Dalton, Mixon, AJ Green, Bengals, and he said dot. I'm not sure if he meant defense.
Defense.
He tweeted that at Wise Take. So DFS Wolfpack, I see you in the chat, man. Appreciate you tweeting us out, and we're gonna address this now. Joe, you first, man. Bengals. How do you like the Bengals?
I actually like Green, and I actually like Joe Mixon a lot this week, strictly on the fact I watched the game last week, and I saw the usage that he was getting. And you could tell with the new offensive coordinator that he's going to be getting the majority of the carries. And at 5,600 on FanDuel, you have to be considering him on Sunday. And I definitely like AJ Green. Dalton, I'm like, I don't know. I guess, yeah, why not? I guess in a stack, I don't see it. I can see it. I don't know if playing all three of those with the Bengals defense, that's not a good play because I don't think he can go off enough to win a GPP, but I like those three, definitely.
All right, Paulie D, what you got here?
You know, Mixon seems to be like the flavor of the week this week. I've heard a lot of people talking about him already. I'm a little surprised. I was actually on him. I put him in my dummy lineup, and I'm a little disappointed. Like, that's a guy you want to get very low ownership and hope he explodes. You don't want him at like 20% and he gets you like a mediocre game. There's no like edge in that. So I'm a little concerned about the popularity he's gained this week. But I don't know. This game's got a very low total. It's at 41 right now. That concerns me as well. I don't think I would go to Dalton. AJ Green is definitely fine, but I'd probably play him alone. And I don't think I'd go to the Cincinnati D. I think the Browns will move the ball and score in this rivalry game. I know there's not a ton of defenses out there to choose from, but I think Cincinnati's going to be very, very chalky. And in defense, I definitely like to differentiate because you really can't predict where picks to the house, fumbles to the house are going to come from. That's like the one spot you definitely accept the cash, but in tournaments you want to differentiate. So I definitely won't be playing Cincinnati State.
Okay, Katie.
But plus, I don't think Cincinnati D has like enough playmakers.
Yeah.
You know, like
That's a good point.
I don't know. I just don't see
Is
like.
Burfict still out?
I think he's back this week.
Is he back? Okay.
I'm not sure. I'm gonna look that up while Gaby talks.
Okay.
I think you might be right on that. I saw something about it earlier.
Katie, what do you think here, man?
Absolutely not on Dalton. Just like last week. Get the hell out of here.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm not in on it. Don't trust him.
I'm not in on it.
Mixon's interesting because, yeah, I mean, you look at the carries that he's getting, so looks like he's going to be the focal point of the backfield. I'm all in on AJ, though, for sure.
Yeah.
He's one of – I had two guys that I'm all in on at receiver, and he's obviously a little bit cheaper than Odell, so he's a little bit more expensive than he was last week, but this is a prime matchup for him. And if you look at the receptions on this team, I think he has 20, and I think maybe Bernard is second on the team with like 6. So what are we doing here? Just feed him, man. They're just going to keep feeding him. He's pissed off last time, so they fed him this week. Just keep feeding him.
There's nobody on Cleveland that can guard him either.
Yeah,
Right.
that's one trend we've seen so far is number one receivers against Cleveland.
Yeah.
T.Y. Hilton last week.
Montez Perfect is playing. He had a 3-game suspension, so he will be back.
Okay. Thanks, Paul.
So Cincy D, I was on him. Now I'm starting to rethink that. I agree with Paulie a lot. I don't see the playmakers there. Of course, you got Vontez coming back. In that price range on FanDuel, though, I think we could probably do something better. Like, hell, I don't even mind looking at, like, Pittsburgh with how bad Baltimore's been offensively. So, yeah, I think they'll be chalky, but I don't see them really doing a whole lot. You probably get a couple turnovers from the rookie QB, but that's about it. Just hopefully they don't take them to the house if you're not playing them.
Yeah. No, I'm with you guys. I think AJ Green's the only one for me. I'm with you guys there. Just because of that trend, number one receivers, they got rid of Hayden. They got nobody to stop these guys. So I'm with you guys for the most part. Fritz at Fritz wins. This is one of the nation members here, or one of our NFL guys. He wants to know about Zach Miller, and then he also wants to know Parker or Landry. Patio Joe.
Zach Miller, no. Parker, I like Parker more than Landry. I think that he has they have just a good matchup just to burn these New Orleans receivers. If you're playing that slate, I like Parker way more than Landry. Big play ability.
Gotcha. Paulie D.
Miller, I think, is definitely in play. They were like leading this Pittsburgh game, so game script went away from like Glennon having to throw them back in it. I think this week against the Packers in Green Bay will have a big lead, and Glennon will be forced to throw a lot more. He doesn't have any really receivers, so I think Miller will get a bunch of attraction. I don't know, Landry Parker, it's pretty close. I think they both have a pretty good game. I would lean towards Parker because of the touchdown upside, but I expect them both to get a ton of targets and catches against the Saints. I wish that game was on the main slate, so I think that's going to be a real high-scoring game, but it's not.
Okay. Katie, thoughts on Zach Miller and then Parker or Landry?
Zach Miller still in the league? Okay. No, I'm not in on him at all. He's only got 11 catches and not a lot of targets. Landry versus Parker. I would only play Landry on DraftKings because they're feeding him, but it's all short routes, man. So you can chew up some PPR, but Parker, man, he's getting a ton of targets downfield. I mean, the big plays are there. I like him a lot if you're playing that slate. I think he's like 6,500 FanDuel against New Orleans, man. I take Parker for sure. I like him a lot. Landry DraftKings only for me.
Gotcha.
Real quick on Miller, they were beating Pittsburgh and he get a ton of targets. 2 weeks ago against Tampa Bay, they got beat up. He got 9 targets, 6 catches. I think he's definitely in play for that slate.
Yeah, no, I got you. No, I'm with you. Last question here. This is from our buddy Cam. He snuck one in there. He wants us to talk about Odell Beckham, Paulie D's boy, Patio Joe Odell.
Doogie, what's up, buddy? What I'll say is very simple. If Brent Grimes doesn't play, which he's questionable with the shoulder injury, go and play Odell. Almost go 100% Odell. If he does play, maybe just play Odell in some GPP lines, but he's definitely in play this week.
Paulie D, Odell.
I think that's a good point on that cornerback, although I think Odell wins that matchup for the most part. He's priced way up, and the Giants, they do have a lot of targets, guys who can get scores. Odell got 2 touchdowns in this game, so he paid off, but if you take one away and he really doesn't make his value at these prices, I think he's a little too high priced for me this week. Giants have a lot of targets, and I think it's going to be an interesting game against Tampa. But I think it'll be close. We might not have to throw just as much, and at his price, you really need 150 and 2 touchdowns to really pay off. So I think he's going to be too popular, and the cost is too prohibitive for me.
Gotcha. Gady.
Yeah, I love him regardless of the matchup, but it's just the price that's a problem for me. My top 2 guys were Odell and AJ Green, and the price difference is crazy, man. No, it's going to be good for him. The Giants don't run the ball at all. I don't even think they're going to try to run it anymore. They're right up at the top of the league in pass attempts, so he's going to get plenty of balls thrown his way. Grimes being out would help him a lot, but right now I think my roster construction, I'm looking at one of those 2 guys for FanDuel, and I think AJ's 1,100 less, so I'll go that route. But no, if you can get him, take him, man. I like him a lot.
I'm with it.
He's 1,100 less.
Sounds like a thumbs up on Odell across the board. All right. So that's it for the questions, guys. Paulie, do you have something else?
Right.
I was not a thumbs up on Odell.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. You were not. That's right. So Paulie said he was too expensive, right? Was it's too expensive for Paulie. All right, guys. If you're watching on YouTube, please click that thumbs up. That like button means a lot to us. Subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on Podbean, give us a follow. If you're listening on iTunes, give us some 5-star reviews. Bump us up those charts. That's going to do it for us here for Patio Joe, Paulie D, Slim Gady, myself, and the entire Wise Take Nation. As always, good luck.
Yeah.